Good evening. It's like 1:51 a.m. and I've been tagged by a friend, Dai Lee, in the Southwest Entrepreneur Hub because Dawncast has put up a video with a panel of CovidSafe, or it's a panel of cybersecurity experts from, I think, very technical fields, and they're discussing the CovidSafe app. And I was asked to give my opinion on what I thought of this discussion. And first of all, in case because I'm going to share this video maybe in some places, so in case you don't know who I am, I'm not from a technical background. I'm a project coordinator at a IT firm, but that's not a technical role. But anyway, yeah, going there from there. What am I going to say? So the video is in like an hour, so I just wanted to make this video in the middle of the night with my response because I'm probably going to forget what I wanted to say. I already forgot what I was going to say because I just had a shower in between watching it. But yeah, there's 6 panel experts. First of all, I'd like to say that I don't believe the issues behind this app is a technological problem. I believe it's a trust issue. And I believe that many people that say that it's a technical issue are looking for technical issues to hide behind other issues that they actually have, right? So if there were a technical issue, they're looking for that issue to say, oh, yes, I told you so. But really, it's not that. And I hope Di's okay with me sharing this. But I think when we discussed it, she also said, like government and things like that. Like, we don't want government having more access to these kind of things. But it wasn't a technical conversation. Actually, no, I don't know. I should write things down, really. Yeah, so the video is about an hour, and you should go watch the video if you're interested in what a panel of experts have to say. CovidSafe app, have you downloaded it? Which countries have the app? Decentralized and centralized. I believe this was explained from a technical aspect, but there were some parts that they left out of this explanation. So we're using a centralized, and I think the guy from Germany was saying that they're going towards a decentralized solution. And I think Kathy might have asked the question about what is the receiver in that instance. So to how I understand this, and please smash me if I'm wrong, right, is everyone is tracking everyone for a handshake, right? So it's a 15-minute handshake. So yes, the app probably does have the data, but it doesn't hold that your other person's, ID unless you've been together 15 minutes. This is why I think there's some WHS things in the city for lifts. They're now not making it per 4 square meter, so 2 people per lift. They're actually allowing more people to go into these lifts now. Otherwise, you'd be waiting 3 hours for the lift. I think the prediction from one place was. So it's a 15-minute hold, and then your location is stored on the application. So first of all, backtracking a bit, when you sign up for the app, you have you get asked, I think it was your name. I downloaded it a few weeks ago, if I don't remember. But your name, which you can fake your name, right? And I don't think it actually hinders the app whatsoever if you fake your name, right? So might as well just fake your name. You need to provide a real phone number, because they need to contact you through this real phone number. You're aged within 10 years. So this app believes I'm between 30 and 39, I believe. And they don't know any more specific about them. That's it. Actually, now that's on the top of my head, I think one of the panel experts said that she would like the breakdown of which state the downloads have been in. How do you do this without GPS, right? You're trying to break it down so that you're not tracking the people, right? So you're trying to not gather this information. There is ways to do it. I mean, there is an answer to this. It's ask that information of Apple App Store and Google Play Store, right? Which I wonder, do Huawei have access to this app? Anyway, but because they don't have access to Google Play Store if people just for people playing at home. Yeah. So what was I getting at? What was I backtracking to? Yeah, the decentralized. So how that actually works is if someone. So let's say I came in contact with somebody, right? And then they end up being tested positive, and they also had the CovidSafe app. my phone never knows that, right? So because the information is stored from a central location, where it gets decrypted is also centralized. So what that means is that person has to give permission for their phone to be accessed to have for their data to be encrypted. Then their phone has kept a log of all the IDs that it has reached, and then a human person gets a decrypted data of who that phone touched, and then one of those decrypted codes comes to me, right? So to go back to the example of the guy that said, there was a guy that said that he didn't want this stopping him. He would not like the government saying, no, you can't do your job if he was notified on this application because he was an A380 pilot for Qantas or something like that. I don't think that's how that works. If I get that phone call saying that I've come in contact with someone who has tested positive, I can still be a fuckwit and do fuck all, right? Like I have that option to say, no, well, I don't really care about anyone. I just wanted to know and do fuck all, right? I think that's how that works, right? Like, please also correct me if I'm wrong. I think they were talking about for it to be effective. I think Di had the question, asked the panel about it being effective, and I think they referred back to, I think it was good what they did. They referred back to, they didn't really try to answer this question. I don't think because they're not subject matter experts in that question, but the 40% rule, I believe it just has to do with Metcalfe's law, being that a network is more effective if there's more people in it, exponentially more effective if there's more people in it. I think the 40% rule, when they're coming up with that kind of information, it's kind of like, well, if no one has it, right, and you have one person and everyone's spreading coronavirus in it, if there's not enough people to contact trace to make a kind of a mesh for sample data, then it's ineffective. I think that's essentially what they're getting at, from my understanding. Yeah, so that was that part. So I'm just going through because they actually have timestamps when you scroll down to the description. Communication to consumers. So I think there was comments about being able to turn the app on and off, but it's by default it's on. I kind of a little bit disagree with that. I think once you install the app, you give it permission, right? But everything's off by default. That's how most apps work, or on iOS anyway. And then everything's sandboxed until you allow it. But then if you don't allow it, it doesn't work. So it defeats the purpose of having the app, right? I don't know if that's what they were meaning, but then they conveyed it differently. I think Kathy made a comment about saying this has been really pushed upon the people. I somewhat disagree with that. I think this is very voluntary. I mean, if she didn't actually disclose if she had, I don't know if she did. I think Di hasn't got the app yet. One of the guys, Mark, he made the comment about if you incentivize the people, right? Like let's say you had 10 people in a cafe and they go, I think he's along the lines of something about going into the cafe if everyone had the app or whatever, this and that. Or maybe he was implying you turn on the app. I think if you incentivize people in that way, people get really upset, man. We're talking about Australians here, man. Like, yeah, I think everyone would lose their shit if they had to have the app in order to do anything. I think that would not work. Yeah, what else is there? The app working and not working, background mode and not background mode. I didn't really understand that. And I feel like I'm a bit more technical in this too. I feel like there's things going around, but when I read these articles, they don't even make sense. Because they're written by people that probably don't understand technology and they've copied it from someone else, right, to get the article out. I mean, big journalism problem, right? But there's other apps that do stuff like this, right? Like background app refresh, background Bluetooth refreshing. I mean, it's the very principle of how I don't have my car keys here, but it's how my tiles work. My Bluetooth tracking tiles work. They work off a mesh network as well, right? Sorry, like a mesh network is actually terminology for Wi-Fi. It's like a network with lots of these kind of things, right? What else is there? I thought it was interesting that no one brought up the fact that it states in the app that the data is wiped 14 days. So if I met someone that was tested positive 15 days ago and then they would try to go back that far, in my understanding of the application is they can't. So in terms of what happens to the data afterwards, or is it used or anything, I believe it's deleted. I believe it's conveyed that it's deleted. And I don't recall in the whole hour of or 57 minutes of this video that was actually mentioned or conveyed. What else is there? I like the fact that it was said that all the other applications that you use in your everyday life track a heap more data. Bluetooth everyone being about funny about the whole location not location thing. That's interesting, right? Some questions that I have around that. I mean, it's very easy to do, right? If you can get an application that will push out your Bluetooth MAC address or whatever it is, also like some sort of identifier, right? Then you can get something that's fixed in a location, and then that thing in the location can then link it to GPS, right? Which is actually how my tiles work. So if my tile gets lost somewhere and I press the button to ask the world to look for my tile, everyone else that has the tile app on their phone is then looking for the identification of my tile. And then if it only uses Bluetooth, how does it know where my tile is? Well, once it hits that location, it pulls GPS data onto the phone off that other device, and then that links to it to find out where it is. Anyway, this video's gone. I've been rambling on for 11 minutes, maybe because it's late at night. It's now 2:03 a.m. I think this video is interesting and it's great. I think it's good to give out technical information, but I believe a lot of the problem is much deeper feelings of I don't know, personal, or I don't know, trust in the government or whatever that is, right? Yeah, I think government's done a really good job with this application. Too well that if it doesn't work properly, it's because they were trying really hard not to tread on any other toes. I like the comment that it was really good that we pushed for something to go out quickly and then fix it afterwards. That's how IT things roll with me. That's very IT logic. However, I think that's dangerous from a government point of view, because you already have so many people with pitchforks ready to complain about everything not working right. I'm sure amount of scaling they had for this Department of Human Services and everything, when there's those lines and stuff, yeah, it didn't work, but it worked relatively well for how many people were trying to access that stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think of the application. That's what I think of all of this. I just hope I'm not leaving anything out, because I'm not going to remember it tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, I think if you're reading into this much detail, if you're that interested, I thought the comments, let me see who I'm referring to, from Vanessa, were quite interesting. In Android and iOS, in regards to what they do block with Bluetooth. I know in the latest OS for iOS, you get a lot of notifications, one out of nowhere for the Bluetooth, but background app tracking is phenomenal. Oh, actually, going back to John's point about how he was recording where he went each day and everything like that, obviously he that's the way he was going about it. I have this on all the time. I Google timeline everything. And the reason I actually thought about this, right? If I were, and I've said this to friends, if I were to test positive, then I would probably backtrack my Google Calendar for a solid 14 days and notify everyone that I have physically had a meeting with, like as a face-to-face, right? Which is very easy because I'm not really seeing many people at the moment. But the downside to this compared to the application is this doesn't count the people that I would have met at like Costco the one time, or something like that, or Coles or Woolies or something, which I don't really go to much, but they're the people I don't know, right? Anyway, I think I'm just rambling on now because I'm not sure how to end this video without proper opinion. But that's the thing. I think it was a great video. I think those guys provided some interesting information. I think for me, the app's pretty simple. I don't think these guys have explained anything that I personally didn't know. I think the explanation for how people contact, I thought that would have been interesting to put in the video. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's me. I like to think a lot of people have downloaded it. But yeah, I think they did say that, right? 5.1 million at the time this video was made, which was yesterday. Yes, yesterday. Only 26 people have seen it, so yesterday. Yeah, that's me. Anyway, I didn't think I really did not think my opinion on this will be 16 minutes, but here we are. Anyway, if you watched my video this far, then thank you. You must value my opinion. Anyway, I'm gonna get some sleep now. Good night, or I'm unlikely anyone's watching this tonight. Good morning.